The ex-husband and baby daddy of Britney Spears is writing a book, and it is on pre-order right now. It's going to be out in late October, but reports are saying that she is not happy about this. The toxic singer, 43, is absolutely beside herself over Kevin doing this tell-all, says the source, and she is in fight mode. She knew it was in the works, but never thought he'd actually go through with it. If it's in the works, it means it's happening, right? But she never thought he'd actually go through with it, the source shares. Kevin's been teasing that he's finally telling his side of the story about what it is really like being married to her, and that set off every alarm bell. You mean their marriage didn't set off every alarm bell to him when he was being physically attacked? Oh, and if you didn't know, Britney Spears also committed DV against her husband, Sam Asghari, who was technically her third husband. If you didn't know, Sam Asghari, her third husband, she committed DV against him, and that was the prelude to why he filed for divorce from her. I know she's mentally disabled, mentally ill, and she struggles with substance disorder. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. But it's not okay just because she's a white female attacking men, or that she's sick and attacking men. Because this is a repeated history of behavior for Britney, going back not one, but two different husbands. If Kevin Federline or Sam Asghari was to come forward and talk about what actually happened to him, Sam Asghari was dead asleep when Britney Spears came into the room, got on top of him, and started assaulting him. The same thing was said years ago. You know, you got to remember that their kids are adults now. I'm talking about when they first got married, when she was pregnant, had baby number 1, got pregnant with baby number 2, had baby number 2. It was said that she committed DV against Kevin Federline more than once. And if he tells the story, guess what? That's just him telling the truth then. He has every right to be able to tell his story just like anybody else. But of course, the Free Britney movement would have you believe that this is just another way to capitalize off of Britney. Remember, it was a court system, a judge, the legal system that gave him physical custody of their children, not her. There has to be a medical record reason for why a judge ordered that. Whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. It says the source says that Britney Spears, who was married to the former dancer, 47, from 2004 to 2007, is desperate to get her hands on a copy to see exactly what he's saying. Well, why don't you just call him or email him or text him and just ask what he's saying? But regardless, she's convinced that it's not going to be pretty. She feels like after everything she's been through, the last thing she needs is her ex dredging up the past for profit. The source. What did I tell you? What did I tell you that they were going to say? So nobody else is allowed to tell their story at all or their truth at all because they're going to be accused of that right there because she's a bigger pop star. Newsflash, Britney Spears has only had ghostwriters do one book and she did one Vegas residency for 4 years in the last 15 years. She considers Instagram to be her part-time job. And if you don't look over on Instagram ever and see what kind of stuff that she's doing there, she's constantly blaming the paparazzi for photoshopping her and making her look bad because she hasn't come to terms with reality that she's 43 and she just doesn't look like she did when she was 16. That's normal for everybody. Blame the paparazzi for why she tripped with her kid, even though it wasn't their fault. It was her fault. She blames the paparazzi for everything. Even going as far as saying when she tripped with her own son, see, this is why I need GUNS. Insinuating that she needs to harm paparazzi. That right there was a red flag for me way back in the day, long before she started doing all of the manic episode stuff. I mean, attacking them with umbrellas, trying to break windows, shaving her head, going and getting tattoos. And I have a lot of sympathy for her mental disability and her mental illness and the fact that she struggles with substance abuse disorder. However, she is 43. She is wealthy. She has a lot of supports and resources at her disposal that she can choose to utilize in a positive and proactive way that 99% of the rest of the world don't have access to. So it's hard to feel pity for somebody when they have endless amounts of power, wealth, and connections to be able to help themselves be in the best place that they could be. And then if they choose not to do that, well, that's on her. It continues on. The source notes that because Spears was fairly restrained in what she wrote about Federline, with whom she shares sons Sean 19 and Jaden 18 in her 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me, he should follow suit. Why? Why? If he decides to get too personal or twist things, she's ready to come out swinging with her own version of events, the source adds. She does it all the time on Instagram. What do you think her Instagram captions are? She weaponizes that to try to reframe and rewrite the truth, and she does that to try to sway public opinion into believing that she's the perpetual victim. This has all stirred up a lot of painful memories for her and left her on the edge. Federline announced he is releasing a memoir titled You Thought You Knew on October 21st. This book is extremely intimate and transparent. Federline said of the book, in a statement per the Rolling Stone, I achieved my biggest dreams, dealt with crushing heartbreak, and endured constant ridicule, all while becoming the father my children needed as they experienced nonstop emotional turbulence. If you've ever had questions, he added, you'll find the answers here. And everybody is trying to rip this apart. But how many want to bet that these haters are going to buy this book and read it anyway? And how much do you want to bet a big chunk of it might not even be spilling any real truths and facts about what happened between he and Britney? Because he kept it quiet about the DV that he suffered at her hands for a very long time. But we know that it happened because there was other witnesses to that event. But it's okay because she's a beloved pop star, because she's mentally disabled, she's mentally ill, she struggles with addiction and recovery, but it's okay because she's a blonde, not even a real blonde, she's a blonde white female, and she's a beloved pop star in the United States of America. That she gets to not only commit DV against her second husband, but against Sam Asghari, her third husband. And nobody bats an eye. Nobody bats an eye. Men are told, take it. Suck it up, deal with it, and take it. And you know what's so sexist about that? If the roles were reversed, everybody would be screaming. So the double standard there is very real. You shouldn't have to endure abuse just because your wife is famous and wealthy and connected. But this book, it says Kevin Federline, dancer, father, accidental pop culture icon. His star rose electrifying stages alongside Pink, Destiny's Child, Aaliyah, and more. But it was his turbulent marriage to pop superstar Britney Spears that made him a household name and triggered a relentless media storm, reducing him to a caricature in a world that barely knew him. Behind the tabloid headlines was a devoted father fighting for his children and his sanity, navigating the fallout of fame and a fractured family as everything around him spun out of control. From the heights of global stardom to the pain of public ridicule, this memoir peels back the layers of celebrity, fatherhood, and survival to reveal the man behind the mythology. A man shaped not by spectacle or spotlight, but by love, resilience, and the steadfast resolve to give his kids a normal life. What you thought you knew was only half of the story. I know everybody has really strong opinions on him, especially in the Free Britney movement. And I know everybody has their thoughts about him being a grifter, whatever. Just put that all aside and just think for 1 second that even if all of that is true, he still has the right to tell the story. He still has the right to tell his truth and to put that into a book. Britney isn't the only one who has the right to just do whatever the hell she wants whenever she wants to do it. He actually does do the work of writing a book, and he can't win. Get a real job.